Well, boils and ghouls, it's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to welcome my good fiends of the Horror Heals podcast. Is horror good for mental wellness? But of course it is. I delight in the delicious deaths of pitiful people on the silver screen. So get ready for a hell of a good time with my new fiends, Corey and Kendall, on the Horror Heals podcast.
Welcome back to Horror Heals, the podcast where we dive into the unexpected ways horror can be a source of strength, healing, and connection. I'm Corey, one of your hosts, along with my partner, Kendall. And today's guest is someone who knows a thing or two about embodying fear. James Stokes, an actor who steps into the role of Jason Voorhees in fan films. But here's the twist. When James puts on the hockey mask, he's not just bringing Jason to life on screen. He's also using it to connect with kids in classrooms, spreading a powerful message about anti-bullying and resilience. Think about that for a second. Jason Voorhees, one of the most feared characters in horror history, showing up not to terrify, but to inspire. It's an incredible story, and we're going to talk about James's love for Friday the 13th, his experiences playing Jason, and how he's using horror to make a real difference in kids' lives. James, welcome to the Horror Heals podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course. So, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Kendall's favorite franchise is Friday the 13th. So, you guys have a lot to talk about. Where did your love for Jason start?
It started at a young age. Of course, I watched them ever since I was a kid. My parents wasn't one to keep us from watching anything scary or anything like that. They just said, if you have nightmares about it, it's on you. So that's pretty much what it is. But no, I grew up watching the old time horror films and stuff like that. Getting to play the character, I can't describe it. I never dreamed that, okay, this is a fan film. Everyone knows that. It's called Voorhees, Night of the Beast. Fan films are huge right now in every genre, but in the horror genre, they're really big with the makings of Friday the 13th and Michael Myers and Freddy and all that stuff. So it's really big, but getting asked to play that character, something that I grew up with, not idolizing, but it's hard to explain, but just loving the character of how he killed everybody. I mean, he didn't care. He wasn't like Michael, Michael just after one girl. I mean, he literally you step in front of him, you're dying. I mean, that's just so, and don't even try to have sex on screen because you're dying. And that's what I loved about our director, Jason Pitts, and writer. He kept all of that old stuff in there. He drew from the older movies and stuff like that, and not just from Friday the 13th, from all the genres. He put little things in our movie to pay homage to a lot of horror films, and I love that about him, and that's the reason I love working with Jason Pitts and anything that he does. But yeah, it's great. It's got close to 1 million views. I mean, it's on YouTube. Yeah, Voorhees, Night of the Beast, and then we did about a 10-minute short after that called Night of the Beast or After the Beast, and we did that because there were some questions that was left unanswered. So Jason went back and wrote a little short that we could finish out the movie. And kind of we left it open-ended a little bit. Go and watch that. Voorhees, Night of the Beast, Night After the Beast. And then I was in another one up in Ohio, up around Cleveland area. We did a thing called Slasher Verse. Now, it's like a verse. It's got all of us. Michael, Jason, Freddy, Ghostface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It rolls from one to another, and you would see the main character just rolls from one end to the. It's just really good, and I got to play Jason in that as well, and so yeah, it's been a really cool experience.
What's your approach to playing Jason? I know that there's obviously some very iconic actors who have played Jason. Of course, Kane Hodder being the one that has played him the most on screen.
And still, to me, best Jason ever is Kane Hodder. I love C.J. Graham, great guy, love him. Love Derek Mears. I've met all of these guys at different conventions. They are super nice guys. They embrace the people like me that's played Jason. Kane Hodder told me, you put on your mask just like I do. So, you're bringing the character to life just like I did. He was a big influence on me. As when I found out that I got the part, I reached out to Kane, and he was gracious enough to talk to me at a convention about what it takes to be Jason. He said, you just got to make him your own. Jason doesn't talk, so everything that Jason does is through his mannerisms. I didn't want to emulate Kane, but I wanted to make sure that the walk and everything that Jason has was as close to Kane Hodder as possible, because he makes Jason for me. I think I did it justice, and people have said, and this is from other people, that I look like Kane on screen. So I was very happy with that. That's a compliment.
Yep. And, as you kind of mentioned, I think it's the reason the fan films are so big right now is that there's such a lack of the new stuff. Obviously we had the Halloween, trilogy over the last few years, but there hasn't been a new show Friday the 13th project in a long time.
No. I was just at a convention with the director for Friday 13th Part 6, and he was just fantastic. And, we sat down at dinner and talked. He's got some great ideas that I hope come to fruition at some point, but he was just fantastic. I mean, it's just such a thrill for me to go to these places and get to meet these people and find out that they're just everyday people that love horror, that love the same things that I do, and that's making movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love that you're very big on anti-bullying. Can you talk a little bit about why that's a passion of yours?
I'm just going to be honest. When I was in high school, I was a quarterback of the football team. I didn't get bullied, but that was one thing that the football team as a whole came together and talked about. And we were going to troll the halls of the school to make sure that nobody got bullied. And that was one of our biggest things. Well, watching my brothers grow up, one of them did get bullied a lot. And yeah, it just, I can't stand it. I mean, I literally can't stand to see someone even out in the street or whatever. It's not just kids. I mean, adults bully people all the time. And it's just absolutely irritating. And I get very irate when it comes to that. I go to schools now, and I get a chance to talk to, I go to middle schools, and I say middle schools because I'm trying to talk to these kids before they get into the high school age, because that's when you choose your set of friends that you're going to be with for the most part. And I try to tell them, sometimes you're going to walk that path alone. You're not always going to have people around you, but the people that are around you, you got to make sure that they are leading you or following you down the right path. And I tell them there's the 3 C's in my opinion. You got choices, chances, and changes. So you got to make a choice, to take a chance, to make a change. And that's what I tell these kids. And I use my mask to do it because I don't want to walk into a school in a suit or in something to look like another teacher or something like that. I come in, and I'm a very big guy. I'm a very muscular guy. So I go in there with the mask on. They shut up. They listen to me. And I've had kids come and cry to me saying, I'm already choosing the wrong path. I'm doing wrong things, and I don't want to do that. And so I sit there and just talk to them and try to be an advocate to, you're not alone. You think you're alone right now because your friends are abandoning you and all that stuff, but you're never alone. You've got people that will help you. Don't let anybody think that you're a nobody, because words kill people, and it destroys people. That's what I'm trying to stop before it gets started. You can either let it define you, let it destroy you totally, or you can let it strengthen you and become a better person. So that's what I try to tell these kids, that you got to let things go. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. Everybody's going to say what they want to say, but you got to choose the right path to walk down. And that's what I try to tell these kids. And it's been working. It makes a difference.
For sure. Yeah. I love the irony of Jason Voorhees being like a peer.
And I love that too, because, kids, and man, kids listen when you throw them something different. You can't always throw them the same thing all over and over again. Kids listen when you throw them something different. And when you walk into a classroom, I'm 6'2", I weigh 230, with a mask on, it's intimidating, and kids just shut up. And it's just when they start listening to you and they find out and they start asking me questions like, well, what'd you do in high school? How'd you do it? And stuff like that. And I told them, I said, it was hard. And I said, I lost friends. I said, but I chose the right path. I chose the right groups of people to be around. Yeah, sometimes, no, I didn't go to all these parties and stuff, but partying is not what it's all about. I chose to be disciplined enough to play all three sports in high school. I went to college to play football. I chose a path of bettering myself in the future because I'm seeing other people take the wrong path and I'm seeing what it's already done to them. I was lucky enough to have an older brother that I saw he dropped out of high school and stuff like that. Did he have to? No, but he felt like he wanted to, felt like he needed to. I saw the path that he took. I didn't want that path. I didn't want it. So sometimes, it takes seeing other people fail for you to realize, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to choose what other kids and your other peers choose. You don't have to choose that. You can choose a different path. And that's what I'm trying to get them to understand.
Well, and I think it's important to note that a lot of people, when they get into horror, young people, when they get into horror, I think they kind of see themselves as outsiders, and those are some of the kids that are open to being bullied. But something that I've never seen at a horror convention is any kind of bullying. It's a bully-free zone.
One quick story. I was in Denver at the HorrorCon, at the Denver Horror Festival. This was 3 years ago. And I met this lady, and she brought her kid. The kid was like wearing all dark clothes, the goth kind of thing. Bullied, made fun of, laughed at, on the verge of committing suicide. I mean, she brought her up there to meet me because she wanted to meet me. She wanted to meet Jason. So I talked to her for a few minutes. I took time out to take her aside and talk to her. And this little girl has been battling insecurities for years from just being different. I said, it's okay to be different. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are brave. You are way more talented than half the people out there. I said, this is what I want you to do. I said, I'm coming back here next year. I said, next year, I don't want you to want to think about suicide anymore. I want you to go into your school. I want you to have the confidence. I said, I will keep up with you throughout the year. I said, you can write me, you can text me, whatever you need to do. We will get through it together. Well, year went by. I went back to Denver. She'd come up to my table. She didn't say a word to me. She just handed me a note. I still have the note. And I'm going to cry. I know I am. Sorry, guys. I do this so I get very emotional. She handed me a note. And within a year, she has got straight A's. She has her own little company that she runs now. And it's nothing big, but it's something for her. And it's actually very, very good. She's an amazing artist. And she thanked me for saving her life. I told her I didn't save your life. You saved your life. You did that. It's just things like that my platform that I can bring to talk to these kids and to make someone's life better. It makes it all worth it. Whether I get to make another movie, whether I get to do anything else, I feel like that I succeeded in what I needed to do. And if you can change one kid's life every year, you're making things better.
I agree. What a powerful reason to keep going to cons and meeting the fans.
That's the reason I do it. That's the reason I do it. It's absolutely just incredible. And well, as you see, I mean, and that's been 3 years ago and it still hits me. And I've got tons of stories I could tell like that. When a kid's make a wish is just meet you, it hits you. And I've had that. And that just tears me up to see, to think about that kid is possibly dying and wants to meet me. It's just fantastic. It's heartwarming, and I cry a lot.
I thought we hear you because it's, there's every interview we do, there's a story that kind of gets us.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we're doing this podcast. We've seen, being part of the horror community how good it is for our mental wellness and happiness and stuff too. So it's like, okay, well, some people just don't get it. They don't understand. They're not into horror or whatever. They think the opposite. They think horror is bad, for people's mental wellness.
If you're not failing, you're not trying, because that's life. I fail all the time at things that I'm trying to do or whatever. I could be out there on a horse farm building a fence and do something wrong. I failed at it. I can't get mad about it. I just fix it. That's the thing. That's what I try to get through kids' heads. If you're failing, then you're doing something right, because you're continually trying to better yourself. You're going to fail. It's inevitable. You're going to fail. Just get back up and keep trying. That's the whole key. It's not about failing. That's going to happen. It's about what you do with that once it does happen. Get back up, dust yourself off, think about things, and then go do it again. It's going to eventually work. It's going to come true, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, if I do something work related to screw up, it's like, I'm pissed at myself for a minute, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice,
Right. Yeah. It's just, that's part of it. I mean, and that's so hard to get through kids' heads. It's because they fail all the time. And even my own kids, I got to tell them, you're going to fail. It's okay to fail. That's what you got to get through their head. Once they get in their head that it's okay that they failed and just they're going to try it again, then you made a breakthrough. Then you're going to do okay.
Yeah. And what's really, really cool about the iconic nature of Jason is that everybody who sees you in that mask knows exactly who you are.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the most famous.
When they made this mask for me, it's a combination of like 7, 8, and 9. With the colors and all that stuff. And I've got it signed with Kane Hodder and Tom McLaughlin. This is Friday 13th, Part 6. C.J. Graham. And then up here, Kane Hodder put one timer on it because he only got to do it one time. So it's great. But getting to wear this mask and the authenticity of it and all that stuff, it's absolutely fantastic. And it's been a blessing to me. And I'm so thankful that I got to do it.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to meet quite a few of the Friday the 13th family, and they're just all so awesome. We had Adrienne King on the show, and she's Kendall's favorite final person.
She is,
but just couldn't have been more just courteous and just sweet and she's got stories too about how horror has helped her and saved her, and I think everybody does. I was editing an episode this week with one of the volunteers from one of the big horror cons, and she's a cancer survivor and ended up being in the hospital a few years ago and came to the con. She was on a walker, and she knows Kane, and Kane stopped her and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he put the walker aside and held her and said, "You've beat diabetes, you've beat cancer, you're getting through this," and it's the support from the horror community. It's so heartwarming.
Kane's a good guy. I've been with him several different conventions, Lexington, Atlanta, just all over the place, and it's been great.
Yeah, cool. We've talked about this on a couple of episodes. The reason we are in New England is we met Kendall's birth family through a DNA test almost 8 years ago. And when we visited out here for the first time, there just happened to be a horror convention going on. I'm like, oh, we got to take the family to the horror convention. And we got a group photo with Kane. And then I subsequently went and had him sign it and told him the story. Every time I see him now, he remembers the story. He brings it up, but he's just, yeah.
He literally met my brother and sister one day after I did. So it was just fantastic.
He's definitely a touchstone, for us. And
I'm trying to get more conventions up north like that, up around your area. I've got to get my manager and stuff on that stuff, so I can get in some of those, I did like 17 last year, 17 conventions.
Oh, wow. Yeah. They're awesome. That's one of the best things about moving to the East Coast is these East Coast or, cons, as you mentioned, like Pennsylvania cons, and there's some great ones in New Jersey. And so, yeah, if you get the opportunity, and the people are fantastic.
Absolutely. Oh, they are. I go to Philly and, like I said, MediaCon and all that stuff. And those people are great up there. They're big horror fans. They always treat me so well up there. My new movie that's coming out, Forest Through the Trees, that's going to be big for me. It's getting a lot of buzz. It shows a different side of me, a different range, as an actor, which I'm thankful for Jason Pitts again. He's the writer-director of this one too, along with Charlie Ray. it shows a totally different side of me than just horror. Mhm.
Oh, cool. So, as your approach to Jason, are you a fan of the machete?
I know I am the fan of the machete. Yeah, I do like carrying the machete. It's I don't know, it just feels good in the hands and it's easy to work with and all that stuff. That's what I had pretty much in my movie was the machete, and brought back some of the old Jason stuff. Back at Crystal Lake and back with the kids. Going to the camp and all that stuff. It's cool. I hope y'all get a chance to watch it. But it's called Voorhees Night of the Beast. Yeah, and let me know what you think about it too. I'd love to hear.
Oh,
Either
for
way.
sure. James, the last question that we always ask our guests is, who is your favorite final person in a horror movie?
Ooh,
Fun.
that's tough. I mean, that's tough because there are so many horror movies out there that have great kills. Man, I've never been asked that question, and that's hard. I would have to. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. But I am going to go back and just kind of think about that and see because that could be so many. And then now you're getting so many. That's like the Wolfman that's coming out. Oh, I cannot wait to go see that. And it comes out tonight, so I cannot wait to go see that. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, we
And
love hearing people's stories and reasons behind it. And it's, Kendall's, we've already mentioned, is Adrian King. Mine is Heather Langenkamp, Nancy from the original Nightmare on Elm Street. But we've gotten Ripley from Alien. We've gotten Lauren Lavera from Terrifier movies. Several people have said Ash from The Evil Dead.
David, I know David personally, and to look at him face to face, and then to know he's the Terrifier, it's like it makes you laugh because he looks like a computer neat nerd guy, and it's like, but then he puts that makeup on, and he turns into a crazy killer. Awesome, yeah. And watch the After the Beast too. It's on YouTube right behind it, and because I think the whole thing is like an hour and 15 minutes with both of them together. So it's not a bad watch. Well, before we get off here, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to I tell everybody that does a podcast, because if it's not for guys like you, guys like me won't get out there to people and let people understand who I am as a person and as an actor. So I really appreciate you guys having me on and just letting me spill some of the stuff, especially about the kids and the bullying and stuff. That's a big to my heart. So more so than the acting, I would think, as of right now. Love being an actor. I love being able to use my platform to help people. I will continue doing that until I'm no longer able to do that. And I appreciate guys like you to allow me this platform to do that. I really do appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you. You've got a beautiful heart, and thank you for what you're doing. For the kids, you've got a unique platform, and obviously, it's effective. It's so needed now. It's so needed.
Yeah,
so
this world is upside down right now.
Yeah. So the more people like you out there,
well, I appreciate that, guys, so much, and thank you for having me on, for real.
James Stokes isn't just playing a horror icon. He's using the power of that icon to reach kids, to encourage them, and to remind them that they're not alone. And that's what Horror Heals is all about, how this genre, so often misunderstood, can be a force for good. Hearing James talk about the impact he's had on young people, about the kids who have reached out to him, about the lives he's changed just by showing up, it's moving, and it's a reminder of why we love this community. Horror, at its core, has always been about outsiders finding their strength, and James is taking that idea and making it something real. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and let us know who's your favorite final person in a horror movie. Until next time, horror fam, stay spooky, stay strong, and remember, if you hear behind you, maybe just start running. Oh, and if you get asked, is horror good for mental wellness? You reply, of course it is. The Horror Heals podcast is produced and presented by How the Cow Ate the Cabbage, LLC.